right.
Oh, wow. I want to hear that again. Maybe later. And the Bernstein family will lead us in our readings.
Good morning. This is from Genesis 18, 1 through 5. Abraham was sitting at the entrance of the tent as the day grew hot. Looking up, he saw 3 men standing near him. As soon as he saw them, he ran from the entrance of the tent to greet them, and, bowing to the ground, he said, "My lords, if it please you, do not go on past your servant. Let a little water be brought. Bathe your feet and recline under the tree, and let me fetch a morsel of bread that you may refresh yourselves. Then go on."
And Matthew chapter 22, verses 36 through 40. Teacher, which commandment in the law is the greatest? Jesus said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the greatest and first commandment. And a second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophets."
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Reverend Samantha Gonzalez Block, and I am thrilled to be your interim Christian leader. Now, when you think about some of the most meaningful heart-to-hearts you've had in your life, I wonder how many of them have been with your cab or Uber driver. It was an unexpected connection. I had just arrived to Reagan Airport to attend IFFP's end of summer picnic a few weeks ago. I shared my location with the Uber driver and hopped into his car. As someone new to the area, I asked him for recommendations for neighborhoods that my partner Matt and our 8-month-old Javier should consider as we could transition our lives from Asheville, North Carolina to the DMV area to be with you all. He had lots of ideas to offer. "I've lived here for over 25 years, he said, and before that, Dallas, but I was born in Afghanistan." My heart skipped a beat. Here we were in the final days of America's tumultuous exit from Afghanistan, and that alarming photograph of people crammed shoulder to shoulder, desperately trying to flee Kabul was fresh on my mind. I hesitated, but then couldn't hold back. "Forgive me," I said, "but with everything going on, can I ask you some questions?" He peered over his shoulder for a beat, then said, "Of course, you can ask me anything you want." "How are you feeling?" "Afraid, angry, but mostly very sad." I learned his name was Fawad. He had come to the United States as a 10-year-old boy, a refugee in the 80s, fleeing the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. "My parents and I escaped to the mountains," he said. "We had an uncle living in Dallas who invited us to come stay with him. I've always longed to go back and visit Afghanistan. In fact, I was hoping to take my 3 children there this year. Now I don't know if that will ever be possible." "What gives you strength in times like this?" I asked. "Singing," he said. "Singing lifts my spirits." And then Fawad's voice got sharper. "I'm not a religious person, at least not anymore. I don't like any religion. They all cause too many problems, too many conflicts. I just think people should be good and get along." I nodded. "I understand where you're coming from. Time and again, human beings have been known to muddy up religion. But forgive me again," I continued. "I also believe that at the core of most religions is that goodness and compassion you speak of." As our conversation went on, I couldn't help but notice that although Fawad was disenchanted by religion, he was at this very moment modeling one of the basic tenets of many of them, one too often forgotten: hospitality. He was welcoming me, a stranger, into his car, yes, but even more into his story, into his truth, spoken straight from the heart. It was profoundly generous and vulnerable and moving. The Jewish festival of Sukkot is one that centers around hospitality, the hospitality that God extends to us and that we are invited to extend to each other. During Sukkot, we remember that it is God who protected the Hebrew people when we were wandering in the wilderness, and it is God who gives us all we need to feed and shelter ourselves. But life is as fragile as a sukkah. And when we build it, we do so with the intention to gather in community underneath it, to share and give thanks for all that we have in this precious life together. Hospitality is an essential aspect of both the Jewish and Christian life. In Judaism, to welcome in a guest is considered to be a great mitzvah and a powerful expression of kindness, especially when the invitation is extended to the poor. Similarly, in Christianity, it is considered a sacred duty to care for the destitute, heal the sick, welcome in the persecuted. To do this is to be God's transformative hands on earth, reaching out to those forgotten and offering them a place of honor at the table. In today's text, we see mighty examples of biblical ancestors emphasizing and demonstrating hospitality. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus is asked, "What is the greatest commandment?" Interestingly, he doesn't respond with one, but two. First, to love your God with all your heart and your soul and your mind, and next, to love your neighbor as yourself. He says this second commandment is like the first, meaning they are intricately linked. To love God is to love one's neighbor, and vice versa. To show love to one's neighbor is to show love to God. Our story of Abraham puts this into practice for us. Here we have Abraham rushing to the door to welcome in his three guests. His expression of hospitality is filled with energy and excitement. He bows and hurries to feed them with all the best he can offer. But what our host Abraham doesn't know in this moment is perhaps what is most essential. It is God who is appearing as these three guests. It is God who Abraham is welcoming to dinner. Today, as we gather under this virtual sukkah, I know that we are glad to see each other's faces after a long summer, after many months of, dare I say, wilderness walking. It is hard to grapple with the reality that this global pandemic is still preventing us from safely showing hospitality to one another in the ways that we are accustomed to, in the ways we long to do so. We are weary and hungry for each other. And yet, I wonder, how can we extend hospitality to one another and to others beyond our tent, here and now? Our ancestors teach us that hospitality is not limited to an address or a physical space. The sukkah is, after all, a temporary shelter in the wilderness. It can be taken down and put up wherever and whenever needed. It can take the form of a Zoom room, a phone call, a meal left on a doorstep, a hello shouted between two windows, even an Uber ride. Discerning how to safely gather is also deeply hospitable. This way, each of us can have a place at the table. This way, each of us can have the opportunity to share in the healing of our aching world and the cultivation of justice and joy. This fall, there are countless ways for you and me to come and engage. There's a new teen group and 20s, 30s group. There's COA and Sunday school classes. There's Tikkun Olam groups. There's an adult group that starts today focused on back to basics, where we'll be exploring things like hospitality and lots more. There's also a new care team that you'll learn about this week that is focused on extending love and support to fellow IFFP members. The opportunities abound, and where more is needed, you are invited to soak in Abraham's enthusiasm and create. Friends, I know I am a new face here at IFFP, but I thank you again for welcoming me into this place and into your lives. I look forward to meeting you and to having you meet me and my family. I'm here because I believe wholeheartedly in IFFP's vision for a community where everyone born deserves a place at the table, a table where we can sit together in our fullness, in our commonalities, in our differences, in our wondrous complexities, and thrive side by side. May we continue to creatively and joyfully extend hospitality. It is our basic duty and our grandest invitation. And now, as a community that cares deeply for one another, we are invited into a time of sharing concerns. Today, we lift up special thoughts and prayers and love to the family of Bishop John Shelby Spong, who some of you may have met, who passed away this week, as well as anyone in our community who's lost a loved one. We're also thinking of beloved members, Carolyn Cook and Ron Landsman, as they continue on their healing journeys, as well as to all those who are in need of healing in this time. Please share your particular concerns in the chat so that we can hold each other close in our hearts.
Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can. Amen.
Amen. Everyone, put your arms around those that you have with you. If you don't, put your arms metaphorically around them, raise your hands, encompass everyone in the beauty that is the Lord's Prayer.
Our Creator, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, now and forever. Amen.
Hello, IFFP. My name is John Mills. I have the honor to be the chair of the board of the IFFP board this year. And here are the announcements. And following the theme of the year of Back to Basics, I'm going to keep this quick and short. So welcome back, everybody, and welcome to all our visitors. I'm really, really happy to see all of you. Next on our announcement list, we need some volunteers, specifically a few areas like helping to coordinate helping us to coordinate which family will do the readings for the week. Thank you, Bernsteins, for this week. And also need some help with the personnel committee and a few other things. If any of those things or anything else that you know of that you need, strike your fancy as something you'd like to help with, contact us on either of those email addresses there. The easier one is info@iffp.net. Please consider a high holiday donation to IFFP. Just real quick, thank you again, Rabbi Debbie, Reverend Sam, and everybody involved with the services. They were moving and wonderful. As Reverend Sam mentioned, And as is in last week's bulletin, one of our esteemed new board members, Jared McGrath, who many of you will probably know, is leading the charge for building up our teen group and the 2030s group. So check out more in the bulletin last week and probably next week too. Now to quick public service announcements. Anybody has any issues with Sunday school classes, if you've gotten where it is or what the pin is, text Reverend Beth at that number. And lastly, adult group after gathering in this same room, back to basics. Thanks, everybody.
Welcome, everybody, back to Sunday school. So glad that you all are here. And parents, if you didn't attend the 9 a.m. parent meeting for the parents of younger kids, please attend. Just stay on here and I'll just talk to you for just a few minutes about Sunday school and what you need to do for that. Parents of 4th through 8th graders, your kids' Sunday school does always start at 11. And so you guys will be with me for a little while, and then you guys can go to your kids' classrooms and learn what your teachers have to tell you. So if you can't do it now, make sure that you talk to your teachers later if you have any questions. And I'm going to put in the chat your Sunday school forms because we sent the wrong link out to you guys. So if you had any trouble, if it said you already filled it out, no, you didn't already fill it out. It was last year's. So we're so sorry. And we're going to put the link in the chat. So thank you guys. Welcome back to Sunday school.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you very much. Bernsteins, take it away.
May we all go out into the world, carrying with each of us the love and blessing of this interfaith community. That's me. May we continue to hold on to what is good and to stand as beacons of light and understanding for all people. May God's spirit and peace be with us each now and forever. May the Lord bless you and keep you and bring you peace. Amen.
Rebecca Weiss will lead us in the Motzi. Everybody grab a bagel or whatever you've got. Get ready to nosh.
Motzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices raise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Thank you, everybody. Stick around, especially if you're Sunday school. Stick around to talk to Reverend Beth. If you're not, just come back at 11 for our very first adult group of the year. It will be really great. It needs a lot of participation. The more of you that participate, the better this year's adult groups will be. And welcome back. It's been such a huge, huge joy to have you. It's been a huge joy to have Reverend Sam join us, and I'm looking forward so much to collaborating with her. And I already have. I can't even tell you how great she is because I don't have the words. It's fantastic. So stick around. We'll see you shortly.
You will. Bye.